The Nationals just capped off a 4-2 road trip, beating the Seattle Mariners up and also beating up the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I'm just going to say this, don't let the Nats get hot.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, I am your host, Ryan Clary. You can catch me over on Twitter at RyanClary11 and as well as our show page at LO_Nationals for all your latest Nationals news and notes. Make sure to check us out over on Twitter. And of course, look up Locked On Nationals wherever you get your podcasts, as we are free and available wherever you get your pods. And of course, we are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every single day. So again, look up Locked On Nationals and look up Locked On Name That Team, and that is where you'll find your daily coverage of your favorite sports teams. And later on in today's show, the Nationals, they have got the day off. It is a much-deserved day off for the boys, and they just recapped a 4-2 week, beating up on the Seattle Mariners, beating up on the Arizona Diamondbacks. They've got a day off today, so let's take a look at their bullpen, because I don't know if you guys have really realized, but this bullpen has totally turned it around. And of course, they actually DFA'd Jorge Lopez over the weekend. They have recalled Eduardo Salazar. Whether you like the move or not, I do think that is something. And really, if you look at this bullpen now, it's not that bad. We'll discuss that later on in today's program. In the second segment, it is a Monday, so you know what that means. It is a Nats stock report Monday. Whose stock is up and whose stock is down? We'll have that preview for you a little bit later on in today's program in that second segment. But let's start off discussing this Nationals 4-2 road trip, as the Washington Nationals, they've gotten hot. They are now at 28-31. They are 5 games out of a wild card spot, and we are here on June 2nd. And the Nationals, by the way, in yesterday's contest, they had plenty of opportunities to win that game. I did not realize this until later on in the game, but the Nationals only gave up 3 hits in yesterday's loss to the Diamondbacks, and one of those hits being a 2-run home run from Eugenio Suarez, who, by the way, just kills the Nationals year in and year out. But yesterday's loss came from Mitchell Parker giving up 3 runs in that first inning, and the Nationals just never really looked back. And that was just really it for yesterday's ball game. But I do want to harp on the positive here, because the Nationals this past week was a tough one. The Nationals do not get much national coverage, and then you have Ken Rosenthal really just writing a slam piece on this Nats team and the organization, and coming after the ownership, coming after Mike Rizzo, the GM, and coming after Davey Martinez and the rebuild that has taken place over the last 5+ seasons. Well, the Nationals responded, and they responded in a very loud way, going 4-2, beating up on the Mariners after dropping game 1 of that series, and then winning 4 straight games and losing yesterday's contest. But the Nationals, and where we are right now, you have to feel good about where we are. This team, the way that they battled this past week, and the way that this offense looked, by the way, this past week, has been out of this world. If you really kind of look at it, CJ Abrams, who has been one of your most valuable pieces offensively, he has been on the struggle bus over these past few weeks. Really, his approach has been just kind of out of whack. And when we see the best version of CJ Abrams, it's when CJ is going the other way, hitting the ball into left field and finding the gaps out there. CJ has not been that way. He's kind of been trying to pull the baseball. And really, I think it's just some mechanical fix that he's going to have to go through here. But right now, with where Abrams is, he's usually the one driving this bus. He's usually the guy getting on base early on in games and setting up opportunities for James Wood. And so for the Nationals to have this success this past week while having Abrams really struggle as of recent, someone has had to step it up. And that person to step it up is Josh Bell. Josh Bell, let's be honest, This time last week was probably the loudest that it has been for Josh Bell. We were talking about potentially finding a replacement, someone who needs to come in and hit for power. Well, Josh Bell, he has started to hit for power. He has a 750 slug over his last 24 at-bats. He's got 3 home runs from this past series. And again, he is hitting the you-know-what out of the baseball. And if you start to look at where this Nats offense is and kind of what they did this past week, David Martinez has said this all along. If you can get a good Josh Bell, this Nats offense is not all too bad. And the numbers, there's some underlying numbers that I think will probably go against that. The national strikeout rate is very up there compared to other teams in Major League Baseball. The power, while it has come every now and then, it's still not the consistent power that you would want from an everyday Major League lineup. But Josh Bell this past weekend, he is kind of the one who catapulted this offense. He is the one who was a difference maker. In this past week in Seattle, he has not had a multi-hit game leading up to that series in Seattle. He had 2 back-to-back multi-hit games against the Seattle Mariners. Something has clicked. Maybe he has entered this hot stretch because, again, for Major League Baseball, for veteran guys out there, you're going to stumble yourself into a hot stretch. Josh Bell is a Major League hitter. Yes, he might be over the hill. Yes, he's an aging veteran, but still, this guy belongs in the bigs. We know that. He knows that. Everyone surrounding us, they know that Josh Bell is a big league hitter. But for whatever reason, he has not hit for power up to this series. He has not been getting on base. He's been striking out at a really bad rate. And all the numbers and all the metrics, they've been trending down for Josh Bell. But this past week, something has clicked. And when Josh Bell did click for the Nationals, alongside other guys like Robert Hassell III, who had some massive weekends, Daylen Lile had a couple extra base hits in Arizona, you saw what this Nats offense could do. It can be electric. I feel as if we kind of saw the Nats ceiling offensive. At least we just got a glimpse of what it could look like. And that's also without Dylan Cruz and Jacob Young. But Jacob Young, in my opinion, might bring this thing down just a little bit. But now let's harp on Robert Hassell III and Daylen Lile. Robert Hassell, first and foremost, he has 9 hits over his last 5 games. He's got a double sprinkled in there. He had his first home run in Seattle. That's kind of the position that I think Robert Hassell could be in. A high average guy, so he's going to be a gap hitter and can also have some pull power here and there. Robert Hassell showed us a lot over this first week in the bigs. And he has been a very big plus for this Nats team right now. What we have seen offensively, consistent hits, having a little bit of power, and also manning it down in center field. He has had some great plays mixed in with some great throws in there. And Robert Hassell has been a plus Major League player up to this point. At 23 years old, we have to kind of ask ourselves this. What are we going to do when Jacob Young is healthy? Dylan Cruz is going to come back in the lineup whenever he is ready. Although I do think the Nationals will probably take their time with him. And it feels as if you haven't really gotten many updates on where Dylan Cruz is. We have heard that Jacob Young could be close to starting a rehab assignment down in AA or wherever he could be ending up. But Robert Hassell and Daylen Lile, for that matter, so he had 2 doubles and a triple in his last 2 games. What do you do with these guys moving forward? Because you want to see Robert Hassell in the lineup every single day. And I think Daylen Lile also, who even might have a little bit of a higher ceiling offensively than Robert Hassell, you want to see him in the lineup every single day. But you've got this loaded outfield group. You've got James Wood in left. That's probably going to stick. You've got Dylan Cruz is going to be in right field or in center field. One of those things will click. That only leaves you one spot with Robert Hassell or Daylen Lile. Because I do believe that Jacob Young, unfortunately, is not going to carry this spot. He's not going to be your center fielder moving forward. And that's what it should be, by the way. Because Lyle and Hassell, they provide higher ceilings, and overall, they're just better players. Jacob Young is likely the better defender, Then certainly Lyle, Hassell, I think there's a debate there because Hassell's a great center fielder and a great right fielder, and he's got plus arm strength too. But the Nationals are going to have some sort of question to answer here. And I don't know what the answer is. I would think that you would move one of those guys down to AAA. Jacob Young takes the fourth outfielder spot, and then it's either Hassell or Lyle being in center field and or right field or wherever you decide to put them. But the Nationals, you're kind of starting to see the benefits of stacking this outfield group. This is a good problem to have. And the Nationals have this right now. And as we saw this past weekend, when Robert Hassell is clicking, when Daylen Lile is at his best, this Nats offense, it got into a groove. And the groove led to a 4-2 record. And the Nationals are 28-31. They're 5 games out of a wild card spot. And now you've got the Cubs coming to town tomorrow. And there's a lot of good things to talk about with this team after a pretty poor week early on last week with Ken Rosenthal slamming the Washington Nationals. So great week for the boys. 4-2 on the week, 28-31, 5 games out of a wild card spot. This is a much deserved day off coming back from the West Coast, which is the worst coast, but still, you understand the point. They're coming back and they play Chicago tomorrow. A very good Chicago Cubs team, and the Nats, they're going to have a lot to look forward to over these next few days and see kind of where they are in the National League. If they can compete with the Cubs, watch out, National League. The Nats, they might be back. Let's get into a Nats stock report here. Who's been up and who has been down? Because the Nationals, they have had a very strong week. Some guys have not, but a lot of guys, they have been there in a big way for the Nationals. So we'll discuss that and more after we tell you about some of our very good friends at wonderful Pistachios. Are you looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. And Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. With each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller for longer. And you know, in baseball, you had that swingman pitcher where you have like Brad Lord. He can make some starts, but he can also come out of the bullpen. That's kind of what I feel about with Wonderful Pistachios. They are my pre-workout snack and also my post-workout snack because, number one, they keep you feeling fuller longer and give you all those better for you unsaturated fats to help you feeling fuller through the gym and giving you that energy. And of course, they give you all 9 essential amino acids that make you feel good about yourself. And also that post-workout, it just makes you good. It has all that good protein and cracking open into every shell if you like that shell variety. But also, if you don't, then you can just return a bag with the pre-cracked shells. And of course, those are so tasty. They're so good. And I love a salty snack right after I work out and even before going to the gym or work. It's an easy grab and go snack. And of course, if you're watching baseball games, open up some pistachios with the shell variety. And so you can do that just like I do. So get snacking and get cracking with a snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. And get snacking and get cracking, the snack that packs a protein punch. Again, wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. And a little bit later on in today's program, we're going to discuss some of the Nationals bullpen shakeup as of recent, because the Nats bullpen has actually been pretty good. And unfortunately for the Nats, there are 3 kind of big bullpen acquisitions from this offseason. All of them are gone. None of them are here. 3 of them now gone, with Jorge Lopez being DFA'd. So we'll have that discussion for you later on in today's show, but it's now time for a Nats stock report. Who's been up and who has been down? We start off the stock up for a guy we talked a lot about in that first segment, Josh Bell. I cannot say enough good things about Josh Bell right now because I feel like I'm a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. I have crushed Josh Bell all season long. You have crushed Josh Bell all season long. Everyone has crushed Josh Bell all season long. We've seen the numbers. Statistically speaking, the first month and a half, 2 months of the season, He was the worst offensive hitter in all of offensive hitter. He was the worst offensive player in baseball, literally. But over his last 7 games, something has clicked. He's got 9 hits. He's got 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, 3 walks, only 2 strikeouts, and a 750 slug, and really catapulting this offense to a couple of wins, especially in Seattle. This is what you want to see because, again, a week after everyone just slammed Mike Rizzo for free agent signings this offseason for not developing players, Josh Bell, the veteran leader in this clubhouse, he came up to bat and he did really well. And now you're starting to see him hit for power from both sides of the plate and really just being an effective player. We all know this. He's not going to play first base for the Nationals. He's not good defensively there. We saw that back in 2021, and we saw that in the early portions of 2022 also. He's not good defensively. That's Nathaniel O's to lock down there. So you got to hit, and you got to hit for power. And when he hits for power, the Nationals, they go 4-2 on this road stand, and you saw good things happen. You saw a lot of explosives with this Nats offense. Stock up for Josh Bell. Awesome week for him. Now let's move on to some guys who maybe have not done too much. Stock down for C.J. Abrams. CJ, in my opinion, is an all-star. There's a little bit of a voice in the back of my head that says, remember second half of last season? Remember the first half of last year also? When CJ was killing the baseball in the first half and the second half, batted sub 200 for a couple of months, and ultimately got sent down because we all know what happened against the Cubs. Well, I'm not going to let that voice take over, but it is in the back of my head a little bit as he starts to struggle a little bit more. Over his last 7 games, he's batting 148. He's not hitting for any power. He's striking out, but of course, his approach is different, and he needs to make a fix like today. Because the Nationals, if you have Josh Bell going for you, awesome. James Wood is going to be James Wood. CJ Abrams, if you can get CJ going with all this fun going around, I think the Nationals are 5-1 on that road trip. They're sitting at 29-30 from this past week, and you'd be 1 game out of 500. That is how good CJ is, and that is how big of a difference that this kid can make for this team. But you got to start fixing this approach because we've seen this pop up every now and then. When CJ is not going the other way, that really tells me a lot. And you kind of see it with his mechanics also. His head is flying out. Then it's just the simple things. A lot of players go through this over a 162-game season. But with some of the long stretches of struggles that Abrams has had throughout his career, that voice kind of pops up and it makes you think, will he be able to correct this in a short period of time? Because when CJ is on, there is no hotter hitter on this team. Maybe James Wood, but when CJ is hot, again, there's no better hitter. This guy can hit for average. He can hit for power. He's a stolen. The guy is electric, offensively speaking. So right now, CJ, he's going to have to fix some things at the plate, so he gets a stock down for now. But we get to a stock up for a emerging bullpen piece for the Washington Nationals. Brad Lord, over his last 5 appearances, 7 1/3 innings pitched, 11 strikeouts, 4 walks, and only 4 hits. He is settling in pretty damn well as a reliever. And it was one of those things where he looked good as a starter. I wanted to see what the Nationals would do with him. Like, were they going to send him down to AAA and have him prep and start every 5 days? So maybe if Soroka gets hurt or if Trevor Williams gets banged up or name that pitcher gets hurt, you'd have Brad Lord come up and solve that problem. But Brad Lord is now an asset out of this bullpen. And he has proven that he could be a long-term reliever also. And someone who comes in, eats some innings, but also just be effective. Brad Lord has been a major success story for this Nationals team. And where he started last year in high A Wilmington, climbing up the ranks all the way to AAA Rochester, making the opening day roster this year. And right now, he's not going anywhere. He has been a positive player for this team. I believe he has a 0.5 B WAR on the year so far. So he has been a big positive for the Nats. And right now, He is settling in as one of the Nationals' steady relievers at this moment. It's taken some time with him, but coming in seventh and eighth innings, I feel good with Brad Lord. I think you had that confidence in him, and David Martinez, he's not going to pull the strings there. He is going to go to Brad Lord in a big-time situation, and why shouldn't you? This guy has proven to be a big part for the Washington Nationals bullpen and kind of why it's turned around. So we'll get more into that thought later on in today's program, but we start off again with a stock down for Keibert Ruiz. This has been the talk around town. Keibert Ruiz has not hit a home run since March. He has quietly regressed back to his old ways. He has a 259 slug over his last 7 games, and he has a 283 slug in his last 30 games. Keibert Ruiz is a very touchy subject because you either love him and you're going to be patient with him, or you're ready to move on, and there's really no gray area there. You're either on one side or the other. Keibert, I think it's unfair for people to just kind of throw opinions out there because, again, when he's hot, he is a great offensive piece. Defensively speaking, there is no worse defensive catcher in baseball than Keibert Ruiz. That's just the unfortunate truth. So when you are lacking that much defensively, especially for a very important premier defensive position, you better make up for it offensively. And right now, Keibert is not doing just that. While you look at catchers, and some people might say, well, compare it to other catchers in baseball, Keibert Ruiz has a high batting average. He has good at-bats. He doesn't strike out. He puts the ball in play. And look at his expected numbers. They're always so much higher. But similar to Luis Garcia, when you put the ball in play, your expected batting average, your expected slugging, those numbers are typically more up. And so, yes, if you put the ball in play, you're going to have a better chance at getting a hit. Duh. But with where Keibert is now, it's frustrating because we kind of saw it earlier this season where if Keibert is hot and he is clicking on all sides of things, he's a great player. And he's already locked up through 2030. And by the way, it's a nothing burger of a contract. So people always talk about the extension and we have to make this work. You don't. You're paying him $6 million basically for the next 5 years. That's nothing in baseball terms. You can move off this contract. You can move off Keibert Ruiz, and you can have him be your backup catcher if things really need to go that way. Because, by the way, you have someone down in the minors with Caleb Lomavita who has been awesome. So, Keibert Ruiz right now, he is on the hot seat. And it's not that crazy to say. Unfortunately for the Nats, Riley Adams just has not been good so far. So, Keibert up on the major league team, he's still going to get his chances. He's going to hit every single day, and he's going to be in this lineup because Riley Adams really ain't pushing his job at this point. So, Keibert Ruiz, the power is not there. You're starting to see some regressions there. That is unfortunate because we need to see this kid get hot yet again. Stock up. Is it a Nat stock report without James Wood? He's got a 741 slug with 3 home runs in the past 7 games. Although he is striking out a ton, the only reason I bring that up because I think he struck out like 13 times over his last 7 games. But even then, he's hit 3 home runs. He has been the talk around town, and he's 22 years old, and he's in the conversation of like best offensive player in the National League. He's in the conversation for having some of the best raw power in today's game. He's got some of the highest exit velocities in all of baseball. And James Wood, everyone needs to stop what they are doing and watch this kid play. He is electric. We didn't really talk about him too much in that first segment, but this kid is special. Like, we have seen special. We have seen Bryce Harper at a young age. You've seen Juan Soto. James Wood is that caliber of player also. And he's ready. This kid is ready for the national stage, and he is a treat to watch every single night from that left side of the plate with that smooth, powerful swing going into left center field. We have got a special talent right here in DC yet again. He is a superstar, and it's not even a debate. What a star player he is. Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Let's talk about this Nationals bullpen shakeup because things are looking up. We'll discuss that after this. Thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcast. Tomorrow's show, we'll take a look at this Cubs series. The Nationals, this is going to be a big test for them. Can they prove that they are ready to compete in the National League? Can they get even above 500 going up against the Cubs? We'll have that preview on tomorrow's show. But right now, the Nationals bullpen shakeup over the last few weeks, it's worked. This bullpen right now is not like we were talking about this being all-time bad bullpen, and it was. The stats did not lie. The Nationals had one of the highest bullpen ERAs for the first month and a half of the season in quite some time. They were giving up home runs, blowing saves, blowing leads, doing everything that you could possibly do to solidify yourself as the worst bullpen in baseball. They have made 3 moves over these last few weeks, and 2 of them being huge moves and seeing instant improvements right away. They DFA'd Colin Poche, they DFA'd Lucas Sims, and now they have DFA'd Jorge Lopez, and the bullpen is much better. We have seen guys like Cole Henry come in situations and completely blow the doors off teams. 15 of his first 16 appearances this season were scoreless outings. He had that one blow up against the Mets, and that was it. You've seen guys like Brad Lord step up as of recent, pitching in big situations. Kyle Finnegan, your all-star closer from last year, coming in, stepping up in big situations and closing the door on some really good teams as of late. This bullpen and where we are right now, who would have ever thought that the bullpen would be this good right now? It's like I now don't expect this bullpen to blow a 3-run lead. In a month ago, that's the reality of it. You were talking about the Nationals, and you have Mackenzie Gore going 6 innings of shutout baseball, giving up 3 hits. Then all of a sudden, you have Lucas Sims come in. He gives up 3 runs. He walks the bases loaded. Then you have someone come in and just blow the game. But now, adding Andrew Chafin, who has been really good so far, just generating outs, being consistent. That's all you could ask for someone who's in his mid-30s and a veteran left-handed pitcher. You have Cole Henry, former second-round pick at LSU. While you can't use him and utilize him at the rate that you have maybe with Lucas Sims in the past, he is someone that you can now rely on. Jackson Rutledge, while, yes, there have been at times, like in particular in Saturday's game, where the Nationals, by the way, didn't record an out through the first time in the order, crushed the Diamondbacks in that first inning. It was awesome to see. But you saw Jackson Rutledge kind of blow it up later on in the game. I still trust him as a guy, though, for this Nats bullpen. He hasn't been great as of recent, but still, he's showed me enough that he could be something down the road for the Nats pen. And then last but not least, the young guys, Jose Frere, Zach Brixey. The Nationals, they have thrown these guys in the fire. And that's probably how it should have been, by the way. Because this team and where we are now, there is no point of throwing out there Jorge Lopez. There's no point of trying to make Lucas Sims work. There is no point in having Colin Poche work. Even though it was surprising that all 3 of those guys were swings and misses for this front office, because I thought that Sims would be really good. I thought Poche would be steady Eddie. And I thought Jorge Lopez had the potential to be an all-star kind of reliever. That did not work out. But the Nats, and where this bullpen is now with these young guys, they're in much better hands, and this is how it should have been on opening day. So now, it's all about the Nationals in this bullpen, and they've been really good as of late. And the Nationals, they've been getting some quality starts here lately, and fortunately for us, we're not watching any more blown leads, and that's a win that we all love to see. So thank you all for making Locked On Nats your first listen. I will catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good one. Go Nats.